Yipper's one of our regulars. ExtraBulla with the early bird show. Yeah, that's right. This is Morning Extra, and we got
What's
our
up,
buddy
Yipper?
Seth Michael Pinder, aka Fat Patsy, aka Desolate Visions. And speaking of which, let's talk about let's talk
Yeah,
about some music first.
sure, man. Yeah.
And so, how'd you get started in music? I mean, what inspired you to become this musician that you are today? And how's it like keeping you going?
Of course, yeah. So I grew up in New York, in upstate New York, and I had New York City radio, and I had Vassar College radio, which was a big influence on me. They used to get the city kids that would come upstate, and they would spin records on Fridays and Saturday nights, and I fell in love with music then, and it was all from the radio. And I had an uncle that ended up joining the army, and he left his stereo and all his tapes and vinyl with my mother, and that was for me. So I learned a lot of music at a very, very young age, man. There was 98.7 Kiss FM. I'm sure you're familiar, New York City radio station. There was a DJ named DJ Red Alert, and he did all hip hop, man. We're talking early Fat Boys. By the way, R.I.P. Cool Roski from the Fat Boys, last remaining Fat Boy. Love that first record. That's the first record I bought with my own money. The first Fat Boys LP.
What was that, like
But
86? Was it
83.
83?
That
What's the
was
one?
83 war. Yeah.
What's the one that had Wipeout on it? That was another album, right?
Wipeout was after Disorderly, so it was like 86, 87 ish, something like that. But that was with the Beach Boys. Yeah.
Everybody forgets about Disorderlies, the movie with
You can't forget about Disorderlies. Yeah, man.
who's it? It had what's his name from General Hospital in it? Tony Geary, right? So he was like
Really?
the
I don't know.
okay.
Yeah.
It really doesn't. Okay, so you remember Luke and Laura from General Hospital? Like the
Don't. My mother watches General Hospital. I'm sure she would.
Anyway, he was Luke. Well, okay, that actually lends well to this story because so when I was working with your better half in Hollywood there, he came into the store, right, and me and another person were at the registers, and he was getting rung up by the person next to me. And so at the time, you had to check ID for credit cards, right? So he gave his credit card, and she said, "Well, can I have your ID, please?" And he goes, "Don't you know who I am?" And then
You
I
got a
looked
little
over and
pissy?
said, "Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
that asshole who was in Disorderlies."
That's, I was in the Disorderlies.
Yeah, so
Right, with the human beatbox. I love that. That movie was great, but
yeah, it's
yeah, yeah.
so
They were
it's so
also in
80s.
Crush Groove. Remember Crush Groove?
Crush Groove, yeah.
Old school.
Um,
And so that's my. We're both Gen Xers, and I'm an early hip hop guy. I stopped listening to hip hop around 92, 93. Everything that's in here is from 83 to like 92. That's
yeah,
it.
yeah, I'm about in that same boat too. It's just like there are a
Yeah.
few like people along the way. I'm like, oh, that's a nice little group, but I really didn't get into like because once I got out of radio, it was pretty much like that was a wrap for me as far as like live music kind of thing on the air sort of stuff. It was just like I
Yeah.
had my own music, like you said, you have your own favorites, and it's like you love those, and some of the
Oh,
new
of
stuff
course.
you were like, I'm not really a fan of that, and but
Yeah, and it's
that's how
every generation is different, and every
yeah,
generation has a different form of their music.
it really
You know what I
does.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, like we had in 1991, we had Nirvana that changed the landscape of music. It killed glam metal. It killed pretty much every other form of music, and then we had this grunge phase for about 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
Until he ended his life. But now music hasn't really changed since then, man. And I mean, there's some good bands out there. If you get on Spotify and search, you can find some good music, but nothing with like true heart and soul. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, and before computers took over music, and I got nothing against people who use computers to make music and stuff like
That's
that.
what I do. Yeah,
I
yeah,
do that too. I can't play. I mean, I can play harmonica, but that's it. But I can't do
yeah,
anything else. So it's nice to be able to create music with people who don't have those skills with instruments. It's kind of like another instrument you're playing, but it's more of a prefab thing more as like you put it all together and then you put it live, whereas you're not like really improving if you were going live, because you
Yeah.
can't really do that. But there is a space for that, and it's just, you know, and it's a lot of that too. Some of it's great, some of it's you know, it's hit or miss.
Yeah. Yeah. Like Prince is the last living legend, I think. Well, he's dead now, but is he? Excuse me. But Prince was amazing. He played everything: bass, guitar, drums.
Yeah.
So that's what I try to do too. I started out as a drummer. I play bass, I play guitar, I play keyboards, self-taught, but it's my first love, you know, and I still love it.